Hey friends, here's a question for you. How many times have you hesitated to teach your kids your regional dialect because you thought, is that confusing? Or maybe you thought it just wasn't as useful as the standard language. Today, we're breaking that myth wide open. Dialects aren't just cute, they're crucial for cultural identity. And trust me, there's way more to it than you think. So grab a snack and let's dive in. Let's start with why dialects matter. Dialects are more than just words, they carry history, culture, and stories. My own family speaks different variations of Spanish. Martin's Spanish is rich with expressions that my in-laws passed down, while I use a lot of expressions specific to my border town community. When Camila picks up Argentine phrases from her grandparents or one of my grandma's old expressions, I'm reminded that she's carrying pieces of different worlds. Do teach your kids your dialect. Whether it's Caribbean, Rio Platense, or Central American Spanish, dialects are a window into your family's heritage. It's part of how kids connect to their roots. Don't let fear of confusion hold you back. Dialects are a part of a living, breathing language, and kids are masters at sorting out when to use each version. It's actually amazing to watch. All right, let's talk about some myths because I know this comes up a lot. You might have heard people say dialects are the language of the uneducated or that teaching them will somehow mess up your kids' language development. Total myth. Dialects are often seen as less prestigious, but they're a treasure trove of culture and history. For example, Neapolitan has roots in ancient Greek, Latin, and even Arabic. It reflects the journey of its people, and losing that would mean losing part of their identity. Do embrace the quirks of your dialect. Those little sayings, unique words, they're what make your dialect special. Don't feel like you need to just stick to one standard version of a language. Being bilingual isn't about perfection, it's about connection. One thing I absolutely love about dialects is how musical they are. The rhythm, the cadence, dialects just have this flow that's so fun to listen to. In our home, we'll often slip into Argentinian Spanish with Martin's parents, and it's full of playful expressions. Camila loves mimicking their unique words, and I love hearing her say, "Mamá, vení." And one of the best parts is that dialects often have expressions you can't really translate. Like in Mexican, there's órale, for example, which doesn't have a direct translation, and it could be used in different contexts to say something like wow or hurry up. There's a feeling behind it that's impossible to capture in just English or standard Spanish. Do make learning your dialect fun. Kids are way more likely to pick it up if they're having a good time with it. Use songs, jokes, or silly phrases. The more playful it is, the more they'll want to join in. Don't overcorrect. If your child mixes up the dialect with the standard language, that's okay. It's all part of the learning process. Here's a little surprise. Teaching your child a dialect can actually help with learning other languages. Camila's already picking up some Mexican slang, which sometimes honestly feels like a third language. But the kicker is that it helps her understand more subtle differences between language structures. As she communicates more effectively, she'll become more aware of how words change depending on who you're talking to and where they're from. Do use dialect as a stepping stone for other languages, especially when there are similar languages like Spanish and French. Kids can pick up nuances that help them in learning new languages later on. And don't worry if your child mixes languages or dialects at first. This is completely normal in bilingual kids. It's called code switching, and it's actually a sign that they're developing linguistic flexibility. Unfortunately, many dialects are disappearing. Studies show that as time goes on, fewer and fewer young people are speaking their family dialects. But guess what? You can change that. By passing it on to your kids, you're keeping that language alive. Whether it's at the dinner table or over FaceTime with grandparents, these moments matter. Do make it a point to use your dialect with your children. Whether it's every day or just on special occasions, each time you use it, you're giving it life. Don't feel discouraged if your kids don't respond in the dialect right away. Consistency is key, and they'll come around as they hear it more and more. One of my favorite things about teaching dialect is how it brings people together. When Camila speaks even just a few words in her grandparents' dialect, their faces light up. Dialects carry this sense of intimacy and belonging that's so powerful. It's a way of saying, I'm a part of this family. I'm a part of this culture. Always celebrate those moments when your kids use the dialect. It could be something small, but these little victories add up and create create a lasting connection to their roots. So what's the takeaway here? Dialects aren't just optional add-ons to bilingualism. They're essential to keeping culture alive and passing it down to the next generation. And if you start teaching your kids now, you're giving them a gift that'll last them a lifetime. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on raising bilingual kids. Oh, and drop a comment below. What's a funny phrase in your dialect? I'd love to hear it.